Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing that every excuse you've ever made has stolen time from your life. The alarm rings, and instead of hitting snooze, you get up. Not because it's easy, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided your feelings don't get to control your future anymore. In that moment, you've stepped into a new reality, discipline. And the truth is simple. Discipline equals freedom. That might sound like a paradox. How can the thing that feels restrictive, the thing that makes you sacrifice comfort, actually be the path to freedom? But stay with me, because this is the lesson that separates those who drift through life from those who take command of it. The world has taught us to chase comfort, to look for shortcuts, to avoid struggle. Every advertisement whispers that there's an easier way, a faster method, a smoother path. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Shortcuts don't lead to greatness. They lead to weakness. Freedom doesn't come from escaping responsibility. It comes from owning it. Freedom comes from doing the hard work today so that tomorrow you're not enslaved by regret. Think about the people you admire. The athletes, the leaders, the entrepreneurs who built something from nothing. Do you think they woke up every day feeling motivated, smiling, ready to grind? No. Most days, they probably didn't feel like it at all. But they didn't wait for motivation. They relied on discipline. And because of that discipline, they unlocked freedom, the freedom to perform, to succeed, to live without the chains of what if. So ask yourself, how many times have you traded your long-term freedom for a moment of comfort? How many workouts have you skipped because you didn't feel like sweating? How many times did you push aside your dream because scrolling on your phone was easier? Each of those moments felt small, insignificant, but together they build a cage of your own making. Discipline is the key that breaks you out. Now picture this. It's 4:30 in the morning, and the alarm clock cuts through the silence. Most of the world is asleep, but one man is already lacing up his boots, already ready to go to war with himself. Jocko Willink, a Navy SEAL commander, didn't learn discipline from a motivational video or a self-help book. He learned it on the battlefield. He learned that when chaos hits, when everything goes wrong, discipline is what saves lives. Discipline is what keeps you moving when fear tells you to stop. Discipline is what creates calm in the middle of the storm. And when he left the battlefield, he brought that lesson to life itself. But you don't need to be a Navy SEAL to understand this. Because life, for you, is a battlefield too. Every day you're fighting forces, laziness, fear, doubt, procrastination. And those enemies don't stop. They wait for you to slip. They wait for you to say, I'll do it tomorrow. That's when they win. But when you step into discipline, when you take control of your mornings, your workouts, your business, your goals, you win. You claim freedom, the freedom to live on your terms. Here's the brutal truth. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. And that's good news, because feelings are unreliable. One day you're fired up, the next day you're empty. One day you want it, the next day you don't. If you let your emotions drive, you'll crash. But if you let discipline take the wheel, you'll keep moving forward no matter the storm. And slowly, step by step, you'll build a life most people only dream of. Think about freedom in its simplest form. Financial freedom. Does that come from spending impulsively? Or does it come from discipline, saving, investing, being intentional with every dollar? Physical freedom. The ability to move, to stay strong, to live without pain. Does that come from sitting on the couch or from disciplined training, pushing your body even when you're tired? Mental freedom. The ability to stay calm, focused, resilient. Does that come from distraction or from disciplined habits that sharpen your mind? Freedom is not an accident. It is the result of discipline. And here's what most people never realize. Discipline is a choice, not a gift, not a talent, a choice. Every single day, you get the opportunity to make it. You don't need to wait for January 1st. You don't need to wait for Monday. You don't need to wait for the right time. The right time is now. When you choose discipline, you choose strength. You choose to be in control, not controlled. You choose to live, not just exist. You want to know the secret of unstoppable people? They don't argue with themselves. They don't negotiate with excuses. They decide. They act. They repeat. That's it. Over time, This builds a foundation so unshakable that no setback, no failure, no fear can tear it down. That's freedom. The freedom to wake up each day and know you are capable, you are in control, you are unbreakable. But here's the catch. Discipline doesn't get easier. It never will. Waking up early will always be uncomfortable. Pushing your limits will always be painful. Sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term gain will always require grit. But that's the point. Because when you accept that it's hard, when you stop waiting for it to feel easy, you stop suffering. You stop resisting. You just do it. And when you do it long enough, it becomes who you are. You're no longer someone trying to be disciplined. You're disciplined. And that's when freedom explodes in your life. So the question is, are you willing to trade comfort for power? Are you willing to sacrifice excuses for results? Are you willing to step into discipline, not tomorrow, not next week, but today? Because your life is waiting. And discipline is the doorway. On the other side is freedom. The kind of freedom most people will never taste because they're too busy chasing comfort. But not you. Not anymore. You've heard the words. You feel the fire. Now it's your move. The alarm clock of your life is ringing. Will you wake up, or will you sleep through the chance to become everything you were meant to be? The moment you decide to live with discipline, everything changes. Suddenly, the little things matter. The way you wake up, the way you walk into a room, the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening, it all begins to carry weight. Because discipline is not about one grand decision that transforms your life overnight. It's about the 1,000 small choices you make every single day, the choices no one else sees, the choices that define who you are becoming. Think about this. Freedom does not belong to the person who gives in to every impulse. That's not freedom, that's slavery. If your phone owns your attention, if junk food owns your appetite, if laziness owns your mornings, you're not free. You're trapped by your own habits. True freedom belongs to the person who can control himself, who can say no when it matters, who can delay gratification, who can choose the hard path willingly. That's discipline. And that's why discipline equals freedom. Look around. Most people are waiting. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for inspiration. Waiting for the perfect moment to start. But here's the raw truth. There is no perfect moment. There never will be. The stars won't align. The timing will never feel right. If you're waiting, you're wasting. The only way forward is to move. And when you move with discipline, when you commit even when you don't feel ready, you separate yourself from the crowd. You break out of the cycle that holds so many people down. You see, discipline is not just about waking up early or working out. It's a mindset. It's a decision to be in command of your life. When chaos shows up, discipline is the anchor. When temptation whispers, discipline is the shield. When fear screams, discipline is the voice that says, I hear you, but I'm moving anyway. Discipline doesn't remove the challenges of life. It arms you to face them. Picture yourself 5 years from now. Who will you be? The answer depends on the choices you make today. Every skipped workout, every wasted hour, every ignored opportunity adds up. But so does every disciplined decision. Every time you push through resistance, every time you show up when it's inconvenient, every time you silence excuses and take action, you're building a version of yourself that is stronger, sharper, freer. This is the battlefield of self-mastery. And the truth is, you're not just fighting against laziness, you're fighting against your own mind. That voice inside that says, just rest a little longer. Just do it tomorrow. Just this once, it won't matter. That voice is the enemy. It is subtle, it is convincing, and it is relentless. But here's the good news. You can win. You win by creating structure, by removing negotiation, by living with discipline so ingrained that your decisions are automatic. No more debate. No more bargaining. Just action. Jocko Willink wakes up at 4:30 in the morning. He doesn't do it because it feels good. He does it because it sets the tone. Because when you start the day by winning the battle against yourself, you've already gained momentum. The world throws chaos at you, but you're already centered. You've already proven that your mind is stronger than your body, stronger than your excuses. And when that becomes a habit, you begin to walk through life with a different kind of power. Now, let's make this personal. What is the one area of your life you know needs discipline right now? Is it your health? Your finances? Your relationships? Your dreams? Be honest, because honesty is the first step. You can't fix what you're unwilling to face. Don't tell yourself the story that everything is fine if it's not. Don't hide behind excuses. Shine a light on the weakness, and then commit to attacking it with discipline. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But that discomfort is a sign of progress. Think about the gym. Your muscles don't grow unless you push them past their limit. They need resistance. The same is true for your life. Without resistance, without pressure, without discomfort, there is no growth. Discipline puts you face to face with that resistance every single day. And every time you push through, you expand. You get stronger. You move closer to freedom. Here's the paradox. The more disciplined you are, the more freedom you create. Wake up early, and you have the freedom of time. Control your spending, and you have the freedom of financial security. Train your body, and you have the freedom of movement and energy. Discipline creates freedom because it eliminates chaos. Chaos wastes time, wastes money, wastes potential. Discipline structures it, controls it, and turns it into progress. But let me be clear, discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not about living a life without joy. It's about choosing a greater joy, a deeper satisfaction, the kind that only comes from progress, growth, and achievement. The joy of looking in the mirror and respecting the person staring back. The joy of knowing you earned your freedom through sweat, sacrifice, and consistency. That joy is worth every ounce of effort. So the next time you feel the urge to quit, remind yourself of this. You're not just quitting a task, you're quitting a future. You're quitting the stronger version of yourself that discipline was building. But if you push through, if you take one more step, if you choose discipline in that moment, you're investing in freedom. Every rep, every page, every dollar saved, every hour focused, it all adds up. And one day, you'll look back and realize discipline wasn't the chain, it was the key. Your life is waiting. The version of you that is disciplined, focused, and free is waiting. The only question is, are you willing to suffer for a little while today to live free tomorrow? Or will you keep chasing comfort and pay for it with regret? The choice is yours. But understand this, freedom is not given. Freedom is earned. And the currency is discipline. You already know what discipline is. You already know it equals freedom. But knowing is not enough. Knowledge without action is just wasted potential. The battlefield of life doesn't care what you know, it cares what you do. And that's where most people fall apart. They listen, they nod their heads, they feel inspired for a moment, and then nothing. Back to the same habits, the same excuses, the same cycle of regret. Inspiration without execution is nothing but entertainment. But you're not here for entertainment. You're here to change. You're here to take control. And that means you must move from knowing to doing. Discipline is built through action. Not once, not twice, but consistently. Repetition is the mother of mastery. You don't become disciplined because you did one hard thing. You become disciplined because you keep doing the hard things over and over until it becomes who you are. Until you no longer have to think about it. You just act. The alarm goes off and you get up. The weights feel heavy, but you lift anyway. The work feels boring, but you finish it. The temptation feels strong, but you say no. Over and over, choice by choice, you carve discipline into your identity. Think about a soldier. They don't train once and call it done. They drill every single day, over and over, the same movements, the same routines. Why? Because when the bullets fly, when chaos strikes, there's no time to think. There's no room for hesitation. Their training takes over. That's discipline. And your life is no different. The chaos of bills, deadlines, setbacks, heartbreaks, it's coming. You don't rise to the occasion when life gets hard. You fall to the level of your discipline. That's why Jocko Willink says discipline equals freedom. Because the more disciplined you are in your daily life, the freer you are when the storm hits. You're not scrambling to react. You're prepared. You're steady. You've built the habits that carry you through. And that's not something you can fake. It's something you must earn. But here's the challenge. The world is designed to pull you away from discipline. Every screen, every notification, every distraction is begging for your attention. Companies spend billions to keep you hooked, to make you consume, to make you comfortable. They want you to be weak, because weak people are easier to control, easier to sell to, easier to manipulate. Discipline is rebellion. Discipline is saying, I will not be owned. I will not be distracted. I will not waste my life chasing cheap pleasures while my dreams die. Discipline is the ultimate form of freedom because it makes you untouchable. So how do you build it? Start small. Don't think you can flip a switch and suddenly become a machine. You'll burn out. Discipline grows like a muscle. You train it daily, and it gets stronger. Maybe it starts with waking up on time. No snooze button. Maybe it's 10 minutes of reading instead of scrolling. Maybe it's saying no to the junk food you crave. Small wins. Stack them, because small wins lead to big wins. And soon, what felt impossible becomes normal. The problem is most people try to change everything at once. They set huge goals, sprint for a few days, and then collapse. Discipline is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. Anyone can be disciplined for a day. But can you be disciplined for a year? For 5 years? For life? That's where the true freedom lies. And yes, you will fail sometimes. You will fall. You will slip. But discipline isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. When you miss a step, don't quit. Get back up immediately. One mistake doesn't ruin you. Quitting does. Discipline is forgiving yourself quickly, but never lowering the standard. You hold the line, even if you stumble, because the mission is bigger than your feelings. Think of it like building a fortress. Every disciplined act is a brick. Some days you lay 1 brick. Other days, 10. Some days, maybe none. But if you stay in the fight, if you keep stacking bricks, over time you'll build a fortress so strong nothing can tear it down. That fortress is freedom. And the only way to build it is discipline. Let's get real for a second. What's holding you back right now? Is it laziness? Fear? Comfort? Be honest. Because you can't conquer what you refuse to confront. If you're lazy, admit it. If you're scared, admit it. If you've been choosing comfort over progress, admit it. That honesty is power. It's the first strike against weakness. Then commit. Commit to changing one thing today. Not tomorrow. Today. Because tomorrow is a liar. Tomorrow says you'll start when you feel ready, but readiness never comes. The only time you control is now. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're casting a vote. A vote for the person you want to be. A vote for freedom. A vote against regret. Those votes add up. And soon, you'll wake up one day and realize you've become the kind of person who doesn't break promises to yourself. You've become someone you can rely on. Do you know how rare that is? In a world full of excuses, you'll be the one who executes. In a world of talkers, you'll be a doer. In a world of weakness, you'll be strong. That's freedom. But understand this, discipline never ends. There is no finish line. There is no point where you've made it and can relax. The moment you stop training discipline, it fades. That's why you must fall in love with the process. Fall in love with the grind. Fall in love with the daily battle. Because the battle never stops, but neither can you. So let me ask you, do you want comfort or do you want freedom? Do you want to live average or do you want to live unstoppable? Do you want to exist or do you want to conquer? The answer is written in your actions, not in your words, not in your intentions, in your discipline. Every day, life hands you the pen. Every choice is a line in the story of who you are becoming. Write it with discipline, and the story ends in freedom. Discipline is the difference between wishing and winning. Everybody wishes. Everybody wants something. They want success, health, respect, love, freedom. But wanting doesn't change anything. Wishing doesn't build anything. Action does. And not just random bursts of action when you feel inspired. Consistent, disciplined action that you stick to even when no one is watching, even when no one is clapping, even when it feels like nothing is happening. That's the hard truth most people avoid. They want the prize without the process, the results without the grind, the freedom without the discipline. But life doesn't work that way. The price of freedom has always been discipline. Always. So let me ask you this. What is the cost of your excuses? Every time you tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, what does that cost you? Every time you choose comfort over growth, what do you lose? Because make no mistake, you are paying a price either way. You pay the price of discipline today, or you pay the price of regret tomorrow. Discipline is hard, yes, but regret is harder. Regret eats at you. Regret whispers you could have been more. Regret chains you to the past. But discipline frees you. Discipline builds the future. Discipline silences regret before it even has a chance to speak. Think about mornings. The alarm goes off. You're warm, you're comfortable, you don't want to move. That moment is the battlefield. That moment is where freedom is either won or lost. If you give in, you've trained your mind to accept weakness. If you rise, you've trained your mind to dominate. It's not about the morning. It's about who you're becoming. That small victory builds momentum for the day. And momentum is power. Because once you're moving, once you've won the first battle, the second is easier. Then the third. That's how discipline compounds. Jocko Willink says, discipline equals freedom. But let's break that down deeper. What is freedom? It's not lying on a beach forever, drinking cocktails, doing nothing. That's not freedom. That's stagnation. Real freedom is choice. The freedom to live on your terms. The freedom to take opportunities without hesitation. The freedom to know you are capable, prepared, and strong. And discipline is what creates that choice. Without discipline, doors close. With discipline, doors open. Look at your body. If you're disciplined with your training and nutrition, you gain freedom. The freedom to move, to perform, to live with energy. But if you neglect it, if you indulge in every craving, you lose that freedom. You may gain comfort now, but you pay later with fatigue, with illness, with limitations. Look at money. If you're disciplined with your spending, you gain financial freedom, the ability to invest, to travel, to build. But if you chase every impulse, every shiny object, you lose that freedom. Debt owns you. Stress owns you. That's not freedom, it's slavery. Look at your mind. If you're disciplined with your thoughts, your learning, your focus, you gain mental freedom, the ability to stay calm in chaos, to create, to think clearly. But if you let distractions own you, if you let negativity control you, you lose that freedom. Anxiety owns you. Fear owns you. Do you see it? Every area of life proves the same equation. Discipline equals freedom. But people resist discipline because it feels like restriction. They think discipline means less life, less fun, less freedom. The truth is the opposite. Discipline gives more life, more freedom, more joy. Without discipline, you are a prisoner to your impulses, your weaknesses, your excuses. With discipline, you're the master of them. And mastery is freedom. Here's what most people don't realize. Discipline doesn't kill joy. It creates it. There's no joy in weakness. There's no joy in being controlled by cravings, by laziness, by fear. That's misery dressed as pleasure. Real joy comes from pride. Pride in yourself. Pride in what you've built. Pride in knowing you didn't take the easy way. That joy is only born through discipline. So, what do you do when discipline feels impossible? When the weight feels too heavy, the work feels too boring, the temptation feels too strong. You don't negotiate. You don't argue with yourself. You simplify. You stop thinking and start moving. One step, one rep, one choice. You focus on the moment, not the mountain. You say, I'll do this now, and then the next, and then the next. And before you know it, you've done what you thought you couldn't. That's how discipline works. It grows when you act, not when you think. And understand this. Discipline is contagious. The moment you become disciplined in one area, it bleeds into others. You get up early. Suddenly you're eating better. You eat better. Suddenly you're training harder. You train harder. Suddenly you're focused at work. One win fuels the next. Your entire life begins to shift because you chose discipline in one place. That's the domino effect. That's the power of momentum. But don't wait for the world to support you. Don't wait for applause. Don't wait for permission. Discipline is a lonely road at first. While others sleep, you rise. While others party, you grind. While others waste, you build. That's why discipline creates leaders, because few are willing to pay the price. And when you pay it, you stand out. You become someone rare, someone others look up to, someone who inspires without even speaking. The truth is, most people will never taste the freedom discipline offers. They'll choose comfort. They'll stay average. They'll die with regret. But not you. Because you're hearing this now. You're feeling that fire inside. And deep down, you know you're capable of more. You know freedom is possible. You know discipline is the path. The only question is, will you walk it? Remember this, discipline is not something you try. It's something you live. It's not a phase, it's an identity. You don't do discipline, you become disciplined. And once you do, freedom follows. Freedom in your body. Freedom in your mind. Freedom in your life. That's the promise. That's the reality. That's the truth. So when the alarm rings tomorrow, don't hit snooze. Don't hesitate. Don't argue. Rise. Move. Act. Because in that single moment, you're not just waking up, you're waking up your future. You're proving that you are stronger than comfort, stronger than excuses, stronger than weakness. You're proving that you are disciplined. And because of that, you are free. Discipline is the weapon that destroys chaos. Look around at most lives today, unorganized, unfocused, scattered. People chasing everything but catching nothing. They wonder why they feel stressed, why they feel lost, why they feel stuck. The answer is simple. No discipline. Because when you lack discipline, your life becomes a reaction. You react to problems instead of preventing them. You react to stress instead of controlling it. You react to opportunities too late because you weren't prepared when they arrived. That is the cost of undisciplined living. You are always one step behind. But imagine living on offense instead of defense. Imagine being the one who is ready, the one who is prepared, the one who moves with purpose while others hesitate. That's what discipline gives you. Discipline is preparation, and preparation is freedom. Freedom to attack instead of defend. Freedom to create instead of chase. Freedom to live ahead of the curve instead of behind it. Think of a soldier before battle. The training is endless. The drills are repetitive. The preparation is exhausting. But on the battlefield, that preparation is freedom. Freedom to execute under fire. Freedom to stay calm under chaos. Freedom to survive and to win. The same principle applies to your life. Train hard in peace, so you bleed less in war. Discipline is the training. Freedom is the reward. People say, I want freedom. I want to do what I want when I want. But without discipline, you can't. Because freedom without discipline is an illusion. You think you're free when you waste hours scrolling your phone, but you're a prisoner to distraction. You think you're free when you spend recklessly, but you're a prisoner to debt. You think you're free when you skip the hard work, but you're a prisoner to regret. Real freedom is not doing whatever you want whenever you want. Real freedom is having the strength and control to do what matters when it matters. And here's the truth. Discipline requires sacrifice. You cannot have it all. You cannot eat anything you want, spend anything you want, waste time whenever you want, and still expect freedom. Something has to go. Comfort must go. Excuses must go. Weakness must go. Sacrifice is not punishment. Sacrifice is the investment you make in your future. And discipline is the act of paying that price daily. Think about the greats in any field. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, leaders. They all sacrificed. They all chose discipline. While others slept, they trained. While others complained, they worked. While others lived for the weekend, they lived for the mission. And because of that, they unlocked freedoms most people only dream of. Freedom to perform at the highest level. Freedom to build legacies. Freedom to inspire. Their freedom came from their discipline. And yours will too. But discipline isn't glamorous. That's why so few stick with it. It's not the highlight reel, it's the behind the scenes. It's waking up early when nobody sees. It's saying no when nobody claps. It's putting in reps when nobody cares. That's discipline. Quiet. Unseen. Relentless. And that's why it works. Because while the world looks for shortcuts, discipline is building unshakable strength in silence. And then one day, the results speak. The freedom shows. The body is transformed. The business is built. The skills are sharp. The opportunities open. And people say, "You're lucky." They don't see the years of discipline. They don't see the sacrifices. They don't see the nights you stayed in when others went out. They don't see the mornings you rose when others slept. But you'll know. You'll know it wasn't luck. It was discipline. And that knowledge itself is freedom. Now here's the harsh truth. You already know what to do. You don't need more information. You know you should wake up earlier. You know you should train harder. You know you should save more, learn more, work more. You don't lack knowledge. You lack execution. And execution requires discipline. So stop searching for the secret. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Start doing what you already know you should. Discipline is not about knowing more. It's about doing more. But let's be real. Discipline hurts. It hurts to get up when you're tired. It hurts to push through pain. It hurts to say no to temptation. But that pain is temporary. The pain of discipline lasts minutes, hours, maybe days. The pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Which pain do you want? Choose wisely. And when it hurts, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself what freedom you're fighting for. Maybe it's freedom from debt. Maybe it's freedom from weakness. Maybe it's freedom from fear. Maybe it's freedom to provide for your family, to chase your dream, to live without chains. That vision is your fuel. Discipline without purpose burns out. But discipline fueled by vision is unstoppable. So visualize your freedom. Picture it. Feel it. And then fight for it daily with discipline. Because every action is a brick laid toward that vision. Every choice is a step closer to it, or further away. That's the power you hold every single day. The world will test you. Distractions will come. Temptations will call. Excuses will whisper. But in those moments, you must decide, will you be average or will you be free? Average chooses comfort. Free chooses discipline. Average blames circumstances. Free creates circumstances. Average lives small. Free lives full. The difference is discipline. And one more truth. You're capable of more than you think. Your mind will lie. It will say you're tired when you're not. It will say you're done when you have more left. It will say you can't when you can. Discipline is how you silence that voice. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you imagined. And every time you push past what you thought was your limit expands. That is growth. That is freedom. So the next time you're faced with the choice, comfort or discipline, remember this. Comfort will feel good now, but it will cost you later. Discipline will feel hard now, but it will reward you later. And those rewards are worth it. Freedom is worth it. Your life, your dreams, your legacy, they're worth it. And the only path to them is discipline. Discipline is not something you do once. It's something you live with, breathe with, carry with you every single day. And the deeper truth is this. Discipline is freedom because it is power. Power over yourself. Power over your mind. Power over the impulses that try to steal your future. Most people live powerless lives, not because they lack potential, but because they lack discipline. They are slaves to comfort, to distraction, to weakness. They let their emotions dictate their actions. They wait for motivation, and when it doesn't show up, they quit. That's not freedom. That's surrender. But imagine this instead. Imagine being the kind of person who doesn't need motivation to act. Imagine being the kind of person who gets up no matter how tired they are, who pushes no matter how heavy the weight feels, who focuses no matter how loud the distractions become. That's what discipline builds. A person who acts regardless of emotion. A person who executes regardless of circumstances. That person is free because nothing can control them. Here's the paradox. The stronger your discipline, the easier your life becomes. Most people think the opposite. They think discipline makes life harder. Waking up early is hard. Training daily is hard. Working when you don't feel like it is hard. But what's harder? Living unhealthy, weak, broke, and full of regret. What's harder? Looking back on your life and knowing you wasted it. Discipline is hard in the moment, but it makes life easier in the long run. Lack of discipline feels easy in the moment, but it makes life harder forever. Which hard will you choose? The truth is, your body can handle more than your mind wants to believe. Your mind will always quit first. It will scream, stop, rest. You've done enough. But discipline teaches you to push past that voice, to realize that what feels like your limit is just the beginning, to discover strength you didn't know you had. And once you find that strength, you can never go back to weakness, because you've seen what you're capable of. You've tasted real freedom. Think about a Navy SEAL mission. Chaos everywhere. No perfect plan. No perfect conditions. But discipline is there. Discipline in training. Discipline in communication. Discipline in execution. That discipline is the only reason they succeed. It keeps them calm in chaos. It keeps them moving when fear is screaming. It keeps them alive. Now, your life may not be a battlefield with bullets flying, but you face battles every day. The battle against fear. The battle against procrastination. The battle against comfort. And just like a SEAL, your only weapon is discipline. It's the difference between quitting and conquering, between living small and living free. But let's strip this down even more. Discipline is really just making and keeping promises to yourself. That's all it is. Every time you say, "I'll wake up early," and you do, you strengthen that trust. Every time you say, "I'll work out," and you do, you strengthen that trust. Every time you say, "I'll focus," and you do, you strengthen that trust. Over time, you build unshakable confidence because you know your word means something. And that confidence, that self-trust, is one of the greatest forms of freedom. Because most people live trapped by doubt, second-guessing themselves, not believing they can. Discipline kills doubt. Discipline proves you can. Now think about what happens when you break those promises. You hit snooze. You skip the workout. You delay the work. It seems small, but each time you do it, you weaken that trust in yourself. You begin to doubt your own word. You begin to wonder if you can really do it. That doubt becomes a chain. And over time, it gets heavier. But you don't have to carry that chain. You can break it today by keeping one promise. Just one. And then another. And then another. Until the chain shatters and you are free again. The truth is, discipline is rare because people chase feelings instead of freedom. They wait to feel like it. They want the easy way. But feelings are not loyal. Feelings disappear when things get tough. Discipline doesn't. Discipline shows up whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is loyal. Discipline is consistent. And that's why discipline wins. So here's the challenge. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Stop saying someday. There is no someday. There is only today. Right now. This moment. Discipline is not built in the future. It's built in the present. You either choose it now or you don't. And every time you choose it, you build momentum. Momentum is freedom because it carries you forward when motivation dies. Picture this 6 months from now, a year from now. Imagine who you could be if you lived disciplined every single day. Imagine the strength, the clarity, the confidence, the freedom. That version of you is possible. It's waiting, but it won't appear out of nowhere. It won't come by wishing. It will only come by discipline. The question is, are you willing to do the work? And don't say, "I can't." You can. Everyone can. Discipline is not a gift. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build, brick by brick, choice by choice, day by day. Anyone can build it, but only the committed will. Only the ones who decide that their dreams are worth more than their comfort. Only the ones who decide that their freedom is worth more than their excuses. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm rings, remember this. That moment is freedom or slavery. That moment is strength or weakness. That moment is discipline or regret. It may seem small, but it's not. It's everything. Because your life is nothing but a collection of moments. Win enough of them, and you win your freedom. Lose enough of them, and you lose it. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Most people never realize this truth. The cage they live in isn't built by society or their boss or their past. It's built by themselves. Built out of laziness, excuses, and the refusal to take control. And the key to that cage is discipline. That's why discipline equals freedom. Because once you hold the key, you can walk out anytime you choose. But freedom doesn't come free. It demands a price. And the price is work. The price is consistency. The price is waking up when you don't want to, grinding when no one is watching, holding the line when it would be easier to quit. Pay the price, and you earn freedom. Refuse, and you stay in the cage. Look around. How many people do you see waiting? Waiting for the perfect time. Waiting for the right mood. Waiting for someone to save them. And while they wait, life passes by. The years stack up. Regret builds. Discipline destroys waiting. Discipline says, stop waiting. Start moving. Start now. There will never be a perfect time. The perfect time is a lie. The only time you have is now. And discipline teaches you to use now, to stop wasting the present, to build the future. The truth is, comfort is the greatest enemy of freedom. Comfort feels good in a moment, but robs you in the long run. Comfort tells you, stay in bed. Comfort whispers, skip today. Comfort says, you've done enough. And if you listen long enough, comfort owns you. But discipline fights comfort. Discipline is the voice that says, get up. Discipline is the force that says, do more. Discipline is the fire that says, keep going. Comfort is weakness. Discipline is strength. And only one leads to freedom. Think about the men and women who achieve greatness. The athletes, the entrepreneurs, the leaders. Do you think they got there by luck? By accident? No. They got there through years of discipline. Reps in the gym, hours in the office, sacrifice after sacrifice. And while others were partying, sleeping, or wasting time, they were building their freedom brick by brick. Discipline is the foundation of every great life. You cannot name one person who has achieved lasting success without it. Not one. Because talent without discipline dies. Intelligence without discipline fades. Dreams without discipline rot. And here's the thing about discipline, it compounds. Small actions, repeated daily, create massive results. One disciplined day won't change your life, but 100 will. 1,000 will. Every time you show up, every time you do the work, you add another brick to the structure of your freedom. Most people quit before the structure is even built. They lay a few bricks and then they stop. They never see the results because they never stayed long enough to earn them. But discipline means staying. Discipline means consistency. And consistency means freedom. But don't misunderstand. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is liberation. It frees you from the chaos of living without order. It frees you from the weakness of giving in to every craving. It frees you from the guilt of knowing you could do more but didn't. Discipline doesn't trap you. It releases you. It gives you the strength to say no to what doesn't matter and yes to what does. It gives you clarity because you know what you need to do and you do it. It gives you confidence because you prove to yourself day after day that you can be trusted. And when you live with discipline, something powerful happens. You gain respect, not just from others, but from yourself. And self-respect is priceless. Because when you respect yourself, you stop settling. You stop chasing approval. You stop needing validation. You already have it because you've earned it through discipline. That self-respect turns into belief, and belief turns into action, and action turns into freedom. Now let's get real. You will fail sometimes. You will break promises. You will slip. That's part of the process. Discipline is not perfection. It's persistence. The question is not whether you fall, but whether you get back up. Discipline is getting back up. Discipline is saying, I failed today, but I won't fail tomorrow. Discipline is refusing to let one mistake turn into a habit. Weakness stays down. Discipline rises. Every single time. And that's why discipline is the most powerful weapon you'll ever own. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much talent you were born with, or how much luck comes your way. Without discipline, none of it will last. With discipline, you can build something out of nothing. You can take the smallest advantage and turn it into greatness. You can take the darkest situation and fight your way to freedom. Discipline is the multiplier of everything else. So where do you start? Right where you are. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now. Start small. One decision, one action, one promise kept. That's how discipline grows. You don't need to conquer everything in one day. You just need to conquer the moment in front of you. And then the next. And then the next. Over time, those small victories stack up into freedom. Imagine your life 1 year from today. Imagine what happens if you wake up early every day if you work with focus every day, if you train your body and mind every day, if you refuse to quit every day, 1 year of that discipline, and you will not even recognize yourself. You will be stronger, sharper, freer than you ever thought possible. That is what's waiting for you. Not in the future, not in a dream, but in reality. If you choose it, if you commit, if you build it, the world will never hand you freedom. You have to take it. You have to earn it. And the only way to earn it is through discipline. That is the law. That is the truth. And once you understand it, once you live it, nothing can stop you. You will be unstoppable. You will be free. There will come a day when your time runs out. A day when the clock stops ticking for you. And on that day, the only question will be, did you live free or did you live chained? Did you discipline yourself to build the life you wanted, or did you waste it chasing comfort, chasing excuses, waiting for tomorrow that never came? That's the reality no one escapes. The time is finite. The clock is ticking. And every moment you waste is a moment you never get back. So ask yourself right now, what is freedom worth to you? What is your dream worth to you? What is your life worth to you? Because if it's worth something, then you know the price. The price is discipline. The price is sacrifice. The price is consistency. You don't get one without the other. You don't get the reward without the work. But here's the truth. Every ounce of discipline is worth it. Because on the other side of discipline is pride. On the other side of discipline is strength. On the other side of discipline is freedom. Freedom to wake up and know you are in control. Freedom to look in the mirror and respect the person you see. Freedom to move through life with confidence, knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. Freedom to live without regret. That's what discipline buys, and it is priceless. Most people won't do it. They'll talk about it. They'll post quotes. They'll set goals. But when the alarm goes off, they'll hit snooze. When the work gets hard, they'll quit. When the grind feels endless, they'll escape into distraction. They will choose the illusion of comfort over the reality of freedom. But you don't have to be most people. You can be different. You can decide that you will not waste this one life. You can decide that no matter how hard it gets, you will not quit. You can decide that discipline will be your way of life. And when you make that decision, everything changes. You stop being controlled by weakness. You stop being controlled by fear. You stop being controlled by doubt. You take control. You build strength. You build resilience. You build freedom. Discipline is the switch that turns it all on. But discipline is not a one-time choice. It's not something you do once and forget. It's a daily battle. Every morning, when your eyes open, the war begins. Comfort versus discipline. Excuses versus action. Weakness versus strength. And in that moment, you must choose. Every single day. That's why discipline is not about intensity. It's about consistency. The consistent choices win the war. The daily victories build the freedom. You want a secret? Here it is. There is no secret. No shortcut. No hack. The path is discipline. Always has been. Always will be. The path is waking up early. The path is training hard. The path is doing the work. The path is sacrificing comfort for growth. The path is refusing to quit. And when you walk that path long enough, freedom is waiting at the end. Think about the life you want. The health, the wealth, the respect, the confidence, the peace. None of it comes by accident. None of it comes by luck. It comes by discipline. You build it brick by brick, day by day, decision by decision. And every time you stay disciplined, you take another step closer. That's how the impossible becomes possible. That's how dreams become reality. Now imagine yourself years from now. Imagine looking back. What do you want to feel? Pride or regret? Strength or weakness? Freedom or chains? The answer depends on what you do today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Right now. This moment. Because discipline is not about someday. It's about this day. Discipline is not about later. It's about now. So stop waiting. Stop wishing. Stop doubting. Stop making excuses. Decide. Commit. Execute. Do the work. Keep the promise. Be the person who shows up no matter what. Be the person who keeps pushing when everyone else quits. Be the person who chooses discipline, and in doing so, chooses freedom. This is your life. This is your chance. This is your time. The clock is ticking. The world is watching. and freedom is waiting. Discipline equals freedom. Not tomorrow, not someday, but today, right here, right now. So stand up, take control, build discipline, build freedom, and never look back. You've heard the truth. Discipline equals freedom. Not in theory, not in fantasy, but in reality. Freedom is earned in the small daily victories. Freedom is built through consistency, sacrifice, and strength. Now the choice is yours. Comfort or growth, excuses or action, weakness or discipline. Choose discipline, and you choose freedom. Forever. This is your life. This is your time. Go out there and take control.